Voici l'éloge funèbre que j'ai prononcé aux funérailles de mon père et on n'avait pas bien entendu sur l'enregistrement, alors le voici. Here is the eulogy that I pronounced at my father's funeral and that we were not able to hear on the live stream. So here it is. Bonjour, au nom de toute la famille, merci de vous joindre à nous pour honorer notre père Cyprien Bohémier. My name is Lillian Bohémier. I am one of Cyprien's daughters. On behalf of the family, I'd like to thank you all for joining us today in honor of my dad, Cyprien. Thank you to the musician as well. Cyprien was born in St. Norbert, Manitoba in 1922, the ninth from a family of 16 children. In 1937, the family moved to Lorette, where he helped on the farm, in the large garden, and sold vegetables with his dad. At 14 years of age, he worked on different farms to help sustain the family. Later on, he worked in lumber camps in Ontario for a few winters, where he was so successful with his pork and beans that he was asked to replace the cook. There, he stayed till he joined the army in 1943. In the army, he qualified to become a mechanic and was hired as Prime Minister Mackenzie King's chauffeur, as well as mail delivery from the Parliament to various embassies in Ottawa. He was paid $1.25 a day and received $1.50 for room and board. To add to his income, he'd set up pins at the bowling alley for 50 cents an hour. After the war, thousands of soldiers were looking for jobs, so he decided to spend the winter in BC with a friend. Before leaving Manitoba, he bought his father's farm with the promise that he'd be back in the spring for seeding. In Millardville, British Columbia, he met Beatrice at a card game. The wedding is planned for the spring before moving to Manitoba. The priest in Millardville wrote to the one in Lorette asking about this young man who claimed he owned a farm in Manitoba. Besides, what kind of a guy was he? The response was positive. True to his word, this man was also from a good family. Needless to say, the wedding was celebrated as planned in May of 1948, and they were married 63 years. Cyprien and Beatrice worked very hard on the farm that increased in acreage throughout the years. To supplement the income from the farm, Dad worked during the winter at the Manitoba Sugar Company for 22 years. On this mixed farm of grain and livestock, they raised their family of 7 children. Besides supporting his family, Dad found time for community involvement, such as the Knights of Columbus, the Caisse Populaire, and many others. Dad was a hardworking and resourceful farmer. He could repair his machinery, and if he didn't have the part, he'd build it or invent it. Whether it be in mechanics, carpentry, welding, sales, or business, he tackled the job with energy. After selling the farm, they lived in St. Pierre, where Dad worked for Manitoba Crop Insurance for a few years. When he retired in 1980, he was looking for a large lot on which to park their camper. Kelowna proved to be the ideal spot for his new life of boating, fishing, camping, and sports activities with Beatrice and their 2 young boys. At the age of 92, Dad expressed the desire to go to Ottawa and visit the places he had worked as a soldier. A few members of the family met up with him at the Chateau Laurier, and together we visited the Parliament, the Governor General's residence, and the embassies where Dad had worked. Dad was so proud. He remembered all the places he had delivered mail to, where he had dropped off the Prime Minister, and where he used to live, even if the street name had changed. The stories that this trip brought up, not to mention the photos he had kept for 70 years. A man of his word, he was blessed with good spirits, good health, and a good memory. Above all, he was a family man, a faithful husband, and a generous and loving father. He celebrated 63 years of marriage with his wife Beatrice before her passing in 2011. He was proud of his family and always happy to welcome them. With family spread out across Canada, he traveled east, west, and north to visit family. Nephews and nieces from across Canada would stop by to visit. They were always welcomed with a good meal and for sure a few good stories. On several occasions, the Bohémier clan was invited to celebrate his birthday or their wedding anniversary. This proved to be an excellent opportunity for us to meet our relatives from across Canada. In the last years in Kelowna, he lived in his condo at the Adderley and finally at the Fernbrae residence. However successful he may have been in life, he was never able to distinguish blue from green, nor Alain from André, nor was he ever able to rid himself of his fear of mice. Sorry, Dad, I couldn't resist. Papa, tes histoires vont rester gravées longtemps dans notre mémoire. Ton attitude positive face à la vie et à l'adversité, ta force de caractère, ton sens de l'humour, ta grande générosité et ton accueil nous ont marqués et nous en serons toujours reconnaissants. On est fiers de t'avoir eu comme papa, fiers de tes 98 ans. Dad, your stories will forever remain etched in our memory. Your positive attitude towards life and adversity, your strength of character, your sense of humor, and your sense of values have left an imprint on us, and for that, we will forever be grateful to have had you as a father. We were blessed to have you with us until the age of 98. To honor the language that my father has given us, and that is very dear to me, I would like to conclude by sharing a poem that I wrote that pretty well sums up his life. Papa, ta vie est un grand livre ouvert qui fait partie intégrante de la nôtre. C'est l'histoire d'une époque de l'histoire du Canada. Tu as survécu à la dépression, la prohibition, la conscription, la Deuxième Grande Guerre mondiale, la vie sur la ferme avec de bonnes années et des moins bonnes, et à la pandémie de la COVID. Ta vie est une vie bien remplie. Tu as su nous léguer les valeurs les plus importantes, le sens du travail, du partage et le sens de la famille. C'est pour ça qu'on est encore ici, papa, pour célébrer avec toi cet amour qui nous unit. Et ce livre se ferme sur tes 98 ans de vie. Merci, papa, pour ce beau voyage. Thank you, Dad, with all our heart.